There's a version of doing the right thing with money that quietly costs you. You open a high-yield savings account, you deposit your money, you watch the interest tick up month after month, and it feels responsible. It feels smart. It feels safe. But here's what nobody tells you. Safe and growing are not the same thing. And confusing the two might be one of the most expensive financial mistakes you never knew you were making. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside that account. On paper, a 5% yield looks great. Seriously. 5% on $10,000 is $500 a year. That's basically free money, right? Except it isn't. That interest is taxable income. Depending on your tax bracket, anywhere from 20 to 30% of it disappears before it ever touches your life. So your $500 becomes $350, maybe $300 if you're in a higher bracket. Now here's the part that should bother you. Real-world inflation, not the number they put in headlines, but what you actually experience at the grocery store, at the gas pump, in your rent runs hotter than most official figures suggest, and after taxes on your interest, you're often barely keeping pace. Sometimes you're falling behind. What you think is earning money is sometimes just treading water. And in some years, you're losing ground slowly, quietly, without a single alarm going off. This is what I call the inflation trap. It's not dramatic. It doesn't feel urgent, but it compounds in the wrong direction. And what makes it particularly tricky is that it feels like progress. The number in your account is going up. Every month, a little more interest lands. Your brain registers that as winning. But your bank balance and your actual purchasing power are two different things. One is a number on a screen, the other is what your money can actually do in the real world. And when inflation is silently eroding that second thing, the first thing is just a distraction. Now let's zoom out a little. Think about what $10,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account actually costs you, not in fees, not in penalties, but in opportunity. Historically, broad market assets have returned somewhere between 8 and 10% annually over long periods. That's not a guarantee. Markets move. Some years are rough, but over a decade, over 2 decades, the trajectory is hard to argue with. So when you keep $10,000 in an account earning 5% taxed down to 3.5%, while that same money could be compounding at 8, 9, 10% in appreciating assets. The gap doesn't stay small. In a single year, that gap might feel like nothing. $500 here, maybe $700 there, but stretch it out 5 years. 10 years. The money you didn't make starts to look like real money. That's opportunity cost, and it's invisible, which is exactly why most people ignore it. High-yield savings accounts are not wealth-building tools. They're storage units. Good ones? Sure. But storage units. And here's a way to really feel that distinction. Imagine two people. Both start with $20,000. Person A keeps it all in a high-yield savings account, proud of the 5% yield. Person B keeps 6 months of expenses and savings, let's say $8,000, and puts the remaining $12,000 into a diversified portfolio of low-cost ETFs. 10 years later, Person A has been earning, paying taxes, and barely keeping up with inflation. Person B's $12,000 has been growing at an average of 8 to 9% annually. That's not double. That's not triple. That gap is significant enough to change what retirement actually looks like. The accounts are the same. The income is the same. The only difference is the decision of where the money lives. Here's where it gets psychological. A lot of people, smart, thoughtful people, keep more money in savings than they need to. Not out of laziness, out of comfort. There's something genuinely calming about cash in an account. You can see it. You can touch it. It doesn't go down, and after watching markets swing wildly, that stability feels earned. But here's the thing wealthy people understand that most people don't. The game isn't about feeling safe. The game is about building systems that work while you sleep. When your money sits in a high-yield account beyond what you actually need for emergencies, it stops being a safety net. It becomes a crutch, a reason not to make the next move. A story you tell yourself that justifies staying comfortable, and comfort is expensive. The wealthy don't hoard cash because they love risk. They hold what they need for emergencies and they deploy the rest. Because idle money has a cost. It just doesn't send you a bill. There's also something worth naming here. A lot of people use a bloated savings account as a substitute for a plan. When you don't have a clear system for your money, when you're not sure what step comes next, keeping it in savings feels like a responsible placeholder. And maybe at first it is, but at some point the placeholder becomes the plan. And that's where people get stuck for years, not because they're bad with money, because they never built the next layer. The savings account was always supposed to be the floor, not the ceiling. So what should you actually do? Start by thinking in tiers. Tier 1 is your emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of actual living expenses. This money belongs in a high-yield savings account, full stop. It needs to be liquid. It needs to be boring. It needs to be there when things go sideways. That's its job. Let it do its job. But everything beyond that, that's Tier 2. And Tier 2 should be working, not waiting. Think of Tier 2 money not as savings, but as infrastructure for your future. Every dollar that sits above your emergency threshold is a dollar that could be building something. Now the question becomes, building what exactly? This is where the conversation shifts from saving to investing. And the first thing most people overlook is the tax angle. We already established that the interest in your savings account is taxed, but what if you could grow money in an environment where the tax burden is dramatically reduced or doesn't exist at all? That's not a loophole. That's the system working exactly as intended. A Roth IRA, for example, lets your investments grow completely tax-free. You pay taxes on the money going in money you've already accounted for, and then everything it earns is yours. Decades of growth untouched by the IRS on the way out. An HSA, a health savings account, is arguably even more powerful for people who qualify. It's triple tax advantaged. The contribution goes in pre-tax. It grows tax-free. And if used for qualified medical expenses, it comes out tax-free. Nothing in the tax code works quite like it. And then there's a taxable brokerage account. Less glamorous, but flexible. No contribution limits, no restrictions on when you can withdraw. And with strategies like tax loss harvesting, using paper losses to offset gains, you can dramatically reduce what you owe. Why sit in a savings account paying tax on 4%? When the infrastructure to grow money more efficiently already exists? Here's a simple hierarchy worth thinking about. Once your emergency fund is fully funded, once Tier 1 is solid, ask yourself where the next dollar should go. If your employer offers any kind of retirement match, that's first. It's an immediate return on your money before it even gets invested. After that, max out a Roth IRA if you qualify. The ceiling isn't high $7,000 a year as of recent limits, but the long-term tax advantage is significant. If you have access to an HSA and a high-deductible health plan, contribute to that next. And here's a move most people miss. You don't have to spend it right away. Pay small medical bills out of pocket, let the HSA invest and grow, and save the receipts. You can reimburse yourself years later tax-free for expenses you paid today. After all of that, a taxable brokerage account. Low cost, diversified, long-term, and your high-yield savings account? Still there, still useful. Still doing its job, just not doing more than its job. What you're doing here is building what I'd call a financial stack. Each layer has a specific purpose. Each layer feeds into the next. The emergency fund protects you from short-term chaos. The employer match captures free money you'd otherwise leave on the table. The Roth IRA shelters your long-term growth from taxes. The HSA handles the one expense that's guaranteed to show up eventually, healthcare, and does it in the most tax-efficient way possible. And the taxable brokerage gives you flexibility when the other accounts are maxed out. None of these are complicated. None of them require a finance degree. What they require is deciding consciously that every dollar has a job. Not some dollars. Every dollar. The shift I'm describing isn't really about accounts. It's about identity. There's a version of you that's a saver. Cautious. Responsible. Proud of the number in the account. And there's a version of you that's an investor. Someone who understands that money sitting still is, in a very real sense, moving backward. The saver and the investor can coexist. You need both. But most people have too much of one and not enough of the other. The high-yield savings account gave you a foundation. Now it's time to build on it. Here's the thing about financial discipline that doesn't get talked about enough. It's not just about what you do. It's about knowing when to stop doing it. Saving aggressively was the right move until it wasn't. The same behavior that protected you at one stage can quietly limit you at the next. The goal was never to have a full savings account. The goal was always freedom, financial, temporal, personal. And that kind of freedom doesn't come from storing money. It comes from deploying it well. So take a look at what's sitting in your account. Not with guilt, not with urgency, just with clarity. because the question isn't whether your money is safe, the question is whether it's moving.